pwede naman po maglagay ng baso. Hindi naman ho bawal na may baso tayong ino-offer sa ating mga kasamahan. So a very quick background on this very nice product that you now own. It's called Uhaw Na. It's a Filipino-Australian brand. Taga-UP ang batang nag-umpisa ng product ng product na to, and I stayed in touch with him, so natuwa ako. And then it turns out that part of their proceeds are used to provide waters to communities that do not have water. So nakakatuwa naman mag-support. So may mga pangalan nyo yan, huwag nyong gamitin yung baso ng iba at baka magkaroon naman tayo dito ng hawaan ng sakit. Yun lang. One last point, the latest data tells us that pag uminom kayo sa PET bottle, may microplastic sa loob nun na pag inom nyo, forever na yan sa katawan nyo kakapit. It contributes to a lot of diseases. So kung hindi kayo katulad ni Loren na diehard para sa environment, for your own health, hindi nakakabuti yung PET bottle. And I end my manifestation there, Mr. President. Enjoy your Uhaw Na water bottles. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Cayetano. Noted and entered into the records. What is the pleasure of the Honorable Legarda?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank my dear colleague, Chairman of the Sustainable Development Goals Committee, Senator Pia Cayetano, for my Uhaw Na bottle today, but more than that, for mentioning the very important practice that we should be doing every day. Mr. President, the Ecological Solid Waste Management Law, or Republic Act 9003, was one of the first laws that this representation filed in 1998 and enacted and signed into law in January of 2001. It has been 24 years since this law was enacted that institutionalizes the segregation of waste at source, recycling, and composting. The good senator had photos of the material recovery facility of the Philippine Senate. I hope that each senator's office, that each office in this GSIS building which the Senate occupies actually segregates waste at source, because I do it I take it very seriously in my office, and I hope when the trash is taken out of my door that it is also segregated, because it would be useless if I segregate the tissue waste, I segregate the food waste which should go into a compost pit which can be used as organic fertilizer, if I segregate bote, lata, plastic which should be sold and there could be funds generated, and the only waste that will be picked up by the garbage collector will be yung latak or residual waste. Because if we take out all the other waste I mentioned, perhaps only 20 or 30% of our waste will actually be residual, which could go to the landfill. And so I thank my colleague, Senator Pia Cayetano, for having that photo. Perhaps the ladies or even the men can do an ocular of our MRF in the Senate and see if they're actually complying with Republic Act 9003. I reiterate that request with the admin of the Senate that if we take it seriously in our offices, please, when it's collected outside our doors, to ensure that up to the MRF and up to the Pasay LGU, they must take it seriously. Otherwise, ano po ang saysay ng paghiwalay ko ng basura sa aking banyo at saka kitchen kung hindi naman hinihiwalay din hanggang sa destination, which is the LGU. So, yes, I think the good sponsor
Senator Cayetano is recognized.
If I remember, Mr. President, we actually hired a consultant to train every office. So that must be done because let's not pretend it may not come naturally for many people if you don't practice it at home. So with the consent of the body and with the with the budget available, I think we must do it the proper way. So I'll
Yes.
just leave it up to the Secretariat, Mr. President. But we did hire a consultant. I asked my staff, and they remembered that that's what we did
It's
to train
probably,
every office.
Sonia
Earth.
Mendoza
Yeah,
of Mother Earth and
Yes.
Eco Waste Coalition. But no need to hire as author, as principal author and sponsor of the law since 1998. I'm serious, ako na po ang maaring magtulong kasi madaling-madali. Ipupulong ko lahat. No, I can do an ocular of all the 23 offices or everyone can come to my office. I take it so seriously and my staff knows that. I check, binubuksan ko ang bawat bin pagdating ko sa umaga. Pag may nakita akong bote, lata o plastic sa food waste, you'll never hear the end of it. And everybody has to be investigated who violated the law and why not. If you cannot even follow the law which your principal authored, then you've no business working in our office. At ito na, huli. Hindi naman mangyayari yung baha na nangyari sa Metro Manila at sa iba't ibang lugar kung tayo ay naghihiwalay ng basura sa nabubulok at hindi nabubulok dahil kalahati niyan ay kayang iresikulo. Yung mga pumping station na nasira at nakita punong-puno ng basura hanggang sa tires at mga sofa ay nandun pa. Wala ba talaga tayong disiplina? Wala ba tayong sariling pag-iisip para sundin ang batas na dapat naman para sa sariling kapakanan? Okay, so I can go on and on, Mr. President, but thank you to my colleague from bringing that topic once again, which is connected to my privileged speech later. I'm number 4. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sure that under your leadership, you will ensure that this law is effectively implemented in our home, which is the Philippine Senate. Thank you.
Secretary is directed to take note and comply as stated by Senators Cayetano and Legarda and to submit a report to the chair. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, before we proceed with the reference of business, with the permission of the body, and pursuant to Rule 10, Section 13, in relation to Section 18 of the Rules of the Senate, I move, Mr. President, that we proceed with the continuation of the organization of the various standing committees of the Senate to the election of the chairpersons. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Mr.
Majority
President,
Leader.
I move that we elect Senator Bam Aquino as chairperson of the Committee on Science and Technology, Vice Sen. Alan Peter Cayetano. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senator Aquino is so elected.
Mr. President, I move that we elect Senator Alan Peter Cayetano as chairperson of the Committee on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Senator Cayetano is so elected.
Mr. President, I move that we elect Senator Lito Lapid as chairperson of the Committee on Urban Planning, Housing, and Resettlement. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? There being none, Senator Lapid is so elected.
Mr. President, at this juncture, may I respectfully move that we proceed with the reference of business.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply.
Bills on first reading, Senate number 201, anak amending RA 7941, the Party List System Act, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committee on Electoral Reforms and People's Participation.
202, anak institutionalizing the whole of nation approach in attaining inclusive and sustainable peace, creating a National Council to end local communist armed conflict and for other purposes, Senator De La
To the
Rosa.
Committees on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, Reconciliation, and Finance.
203, anak transferring the control and supervision of the provincial and sub-provincial jails to the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, Local Government, and Finance.
204, providing for the rank classification and organization of key positions in the BFP and the BJMP, amending RA 9263, the Bureau of Fire Protection and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology Professionalization Act as amended by RA 9592, Senator De La Rosa.
The Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation and Finance.
205, institutionalizing anti-drug abuse councils in every local government unit and for other purposes, Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, Local Government, and Finance.
206, amending RA 11696, the Marawi Siege Victims Compensation Act of 2022, Senator De La Rosa.
The Committee on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation.
207, providing direct financial assistance to Filipino farmers and fisher folk, establishing for the purpose the Filipino Farmers and Fisher Folk Financial Assistance Program, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator De La Rosa.
The Committees on Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, and Finance.
208, anak enhancing the financial literacy of overseas Filipino workers and for other purposes, Senator De La Rosa.
To To the Committee on Migrant Workers.
209, providing for a 200 peso daily minimum wage increase for employees and workers in the private sector, Senator Antiveros.
The Committee on Labor, Employment, and Human Resources Development.
210, amending RA 6727, the Wage Rationalization Act, and for other purposes, Senator Antiveros.
To the Committee on Labor, Employment, Human Resources Development.
211, providing for 15,000 peso across the board increase in basic monthly salary of teachers and employees in the public basic education and property transfer for Senator Antiveros.
The Committees on Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation, Basic Education, and Finance.
212, an act against the practice of endo and contracting, amending Articles 106 to 109, 294 to 296, and adding a new provision to PD 442, the Labor Code of the Philippines, as amended, Senator Antiveros.
The Committee on Labor, Employment, Human Resources Development.
213, an act regulating work mediated, organized, or allocated through online platforms for the protection of Filipino workers in the gig economy, Senator Antiveros.
To the Committees on Labor, Employment, Human Resources Development, Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship, and Finance.
214, an act providing for a national framework for interns' rights and welfare, Senator Antiveros.
To the Committees on Higher Technical Vocational Education, Ways and Means, and Finance.
215, an act granting universal social pension to all senior citizens aged 60 years old and above, amending RA 7432 as amended, Senator Antiveros.
The Committees on Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, and Finance.
216, an act establishing a legislative framework for water services in the Philippines by reforming non-performing joint venture agreements and enhancing institutional oversight and accountability, Senator Antiveros.
The Committee on Public Services.
217, an act increasing the penalties for the detention of patients and cadavers in hospitals, medical clinics, or any other similar facilities on grounds of non-payment of hospital bills or medical expenses, amending RA 9439 by Senator Antiveros.
The Committees on Health and Demography, Social Justice, Welfare, Rural Development, and Finance. Before continuing, Chair would like to remind our guests in the gallery to kindly settle down so that we can proceed with the business of the Senate. Secretary, may proceed.
Senate number 218, an act prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or sex characteristics, and providing penalties therefore, Senator Antiveros.
The Committees on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality, and Finance.
219, an act establishing a free breakfast program for students in public schools from kinder to grade 12 and daycare centers, mandating direct procurement of produce from local farmers and fisher folk pursuant to RA number 11321, Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, and Finance. What is the pleasure of the Honorable Pangilinan?
Yes, a parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman may proceed.
Thank you. Perhaps the majority leader can guide us. I've been away 3 years, so I am not sure if there were some other precedents that have happened since. But on the matter of the referral of Senate Bill 219, this is primarily referred to the Committee on Basic Education and secondarily referred to the Committee on Agriculture. It has been a practice of the Senate that certain measures, resolutions perhaps, and information are referred to jointly jointly to two committees for investigation purposes, Mr. President. I'm not sure if the same can apply for the hearings or the hearings of bills in the committee level. Can a measure be referred jointly to two committees for purposes of hearings, and that, for example, in this case, for the aspect of involving preschool up to grade 12 for this feeding program, that matter should be forwarded to, or at least addressed by the Committee on Basic Education, while the matter of purchasing the agriculture products, of which for the purpose precisely of providing fresh and nutritious food, and its purchases directly to farmers and fisher folk, can be referred to the Committee on Agriculture. Can that be a course of action?
Without asking the majority floor leader, is it the pleasure of the Honorable Pangilinan to change the referral to Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform as the primary committee?
Well, I discussed this with the chairperson of the Committee on Basic Education. He wishes to hear this particular measure. And so the compromise, if it's acceptable to the body, is that on the issue of the involvement of the public schools and the daycare centers, that should be referred to the Committee on Education. While the issue on purchases by these institutions to the farmers and fisher